Okay, welcome to Let's Play Hearthstone. This is CoolKvothe, and we're gonna play again. Now, hopefully, hope beyond hope, I did not get cut off at the beginning of my intro like I did the last two times. I still uploaded the videos because I think that the matches are pretty good, and I thought you'd like to see them. But it is very, very annoying to introduce myself every single episode and then realize that I'm too dumb to realize when the actual program is recording, despite the fact that once you start recording, it shows a little red dot in the corner that says record. I didn't quite notice that I had to wait for that. I thought that as soon as I hit the record button, it was going, and 2 times in a row, I realized that I cut myself off, and I'm very ashamed of that because the second time I actually knew that it had happened, and I still went ahead and cut myself off again anyway. So we're going to hope to stay away from that from now on, and we're going to play a little more Hearthstone. Now, right now I can play either Priest or Paladin in order to get the daily quest, but I actually don't really feel like doing the quest right now. I feel like just winning, and I realize it's crass to say, and I really probably will not win because I said it, but I'm going to go with the Druid deck again, because quite frankly, it's my favorite deck, it's my best deck, it has the most cool cards in it, I guess you could say, in regards to the cards that I enjoy playing. I mean, I say cool, but, you know, you guys might like Alakir the Windlord or Prophet Velen, and I could, you know, I'm not really the biggest fan of those cards, whereas cards like Cenarius and Ragnaros and Cairn Bloodhoof just make me feel like the coolest guy in the world when I play him. So we're going to go with Druid again, and of course, despite the fact that I've played a Warlock the last 17 games, we're going to play a Druid now because why not? So we're gonna dump Force of Nature, and I think we're going to dump Keeper of the Grove too, just in the off chance we might get something a little more interesting at the beginning of the game. And of course, I pull off 2 7-mana creatures, which helps me not at all, and I pull Force of Nature anyway. So once again, my bad luck at the beginning of the game has come back yet again, and I just want one good start. I think I've had like 5, maybe not 5, like maybe 3 or 4 games in a row where I've had just disgusting starts. So still nothing. Luckily, he hasn't done anything either. We're just gonna get a cheap attack in here and give myself an armor, and next turn he'll probably do the same thing and attack me with his, so but we'll see how it goes. But at the very least, I got Harvest Golem. That'll give me a little bit of a start here, and I have Innervate, which means I should be able to get to these cards a little quicker, which will help.
Pay attention, class.
Alright, so he's gonna summon Violet Apprentice. In my opinion, not really the most common card that you see in a Druid deck, because its ability is whenever you cast a spell, summon a 1/1 Violet Apprentice, which, you know, in some decks can be extremely exceptional. In a Druid deck, it depends on the deck. I mean, I suppose he could stock himself full of, like, the Druid buff cards, which I'm not really the biggest fan of. But quite frankly, it almost seems like it's not really the best card in most situations. But we're going to go ahead and summon Harvest Golem. I mean, that's really our only move at this point. Obviously, not good enough to take down a 3/5, but, you know, it's still just a 3/5. If it was a 5/3, I'd be a little more worried, but not too worried about the Violet Apprentice at this point. So that's one way to start the turn. There's no thought at all. It was just, I'm going to attack that creature, which, you know, by all means, may be the best move for you. I'm not really sure, but he seems to think it is. He's going to summon the Fairy Dragon, and he's going to play the coin, which summons an Apprentice, which will allow him to shapeshift and kill my last minion, I'm guessing. Okay. Alright, so I can accept that as a fairly good move. Wasn't really my favorite thing to see in the whole world, but it was definitely good. So now I have to start thinking, and I'm thinking that I have to clear his board with Force of Nature, which is not really what I want to do at this juncture. But if I summon him, he's just going to kill him with Violet Apprentice, then kill him with this one, and still have these 2 minions, and probably will summon another. And if I shapeshift, I can kill this guy, but then he's still going to hit me with 2/3/2s, and I only have 2 mana. Either way, I'm not liking my chances, and the problem is, come next turn, I don't have anything to play regardless of what I choose here. So I might as well clear his board and hope that that works out. And I say clear his board, I'm not going to be able to clear the whole thing. But I can get rid of those 2 creatures. He only has one 1/1 Apprentice, which I can easily shapeshift my way out of. And I still have Harvest Golem to play next turn, which will give me something to do if he decides that he's going to play something fierce. And he didn't. So we actually got very lucky. He summoned one Divine Shield 1/1 minion, which is not really that imposing, to be honest with you. And then went ahead and just attacked me directly. So what I'm thinking right now is that I might want to shapeshift, kill him, then summon Harvest Golem, leave the 1/1 Divine Shield. In the next turn, since I'll have 6 mana, I can't play either of these guys, so I can just play Druid of the Claw. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I mean, it really doesn't matter what turn we do it in, but I think Druid of the Claw isn't as needed this turn with what he's got on the board. I can clear most of it myself anyway, and next turn it'll give me something to play. I'm trying to think about it in that way because right now I have kind of a weird mana comp, so I'm trying to give myself actual positive, profitable moves to make here, even though I don't have anything in my hand to play on a lot of these turns for mana, and I don't want to waste mana if I can help it, so he's going to town just to take out my Harvest Golem, which seems a little excessive to me, but to each his own, I suppose. And it looks like he was just doing it so he could draw with Wrath. Apparently the most threatening Harvest Golem in the entire world. But, to each his own once again. Pretty much the way of things around here. So, now, this is an interesting card. Next turn I can obviously summon one of these guys, but if I summon Druid of the Claw, I have 1 leftover mana. But if I summon him, I could potentially kill this minion and just have a 2/4 out there this turn, which is not horrible. So I think I'm going to do that.
For the wild. I must safeguard.
So I think I'm going to deal 2 damage to him right now.
Job done.
And now we have a 2/4, and that'll kind of pave the way for one of my Ancients. So I think that's a good play. It may be a waste of a damage, and if it is, so be it. But I can take it. I mean,
I must safeguard.
Keeper of the Grove is not the most amazing card of all time. Now, that was probably a much more sophisticated approach than I just did right there, so I'm kind of a little bit ashamed. But he still ended up, using a claw just to take out that minion, so may not have been the best move of all time. And we pull an Innervate, which is an interesting card because it allows us to summon Cenarius if we want to. I'm not sure that's the appropriate turn for this move. I'm thinking that we can summon Ancient of Lore and get a 2-card draw, and then we can go ahead and shapeshift to take away the Divine Shield of the Guardian. And then he has to deal with my Ancient of Lore, not knowing that I have Ancient of Lore and Cenarius in my hand, along with the Druid of the Claw. So I think that's the best move. We'll draw the 2 cards. Alright, now I was thinking about innervating and doing that, but actually I don't think that's the best move now anyway. I'm just going to leave Druid of Lore out there and see what they decide to do with him. Alright, now, I don't mean or presume to tell this guy his business, but that seemed a little ineffective. I don't think that was maybe his best move there. Who am I to say that, I suppose, but he's been playing very well this whole game, and that really wasn't the best move in the whole world. Savage Roar at that juncture seemed to be a little bit unnecessary, and maybe a little bit, I don't like to say stupid, but alright, so I don't know if I'm going to play Wrath now. I could play Innervate and summon Druid of the Claw, which might not be bad. You know what, I'm going to play Wrath, and I'm going to destroy him. So now, as you can tell, he has a slight board control right now, but overall I also have a card advantage And unless he's housing some great cards in his hand, and Power of the Wild is not one of them, then he's going to start seeing some difficult cards to deal with moving forward here. So, here's where things get a little interesting. So I think I'm going to swipe.
For the wild.
Alright, so now 25-20, his board is clear. I'm going to use Innervate now, which I've been saving for a little bit.
Where shall I strike?
And we're going to summon Bear Form of Druid of the Claw, which I realize a lot of people might be saying, why are you summoning Bear Form? But I'd rather have a 4-6 with Taunt than a 4-4 with Charge, even if it means sacrificing 4 damage this turn. Simply because the Taunt and the extra 2 health is probably going to help, especially against a Druid deck that has a lot of damage in it. Okay. So he's going to summon Cenarius. Not too unexpected, I suppose. I'm thinking that the best bet here might be to take out one of them. Good. Then we might as well go ahead and use Ancient of Lore to draw 2 more cards. And then we could summon a Loot Hoarder or 2 to add to the group here. So now, if he wants to kill him, he has to either find something in his hand or attack with Cenarius, which is going to get a 4 health deficit here.
Where shall I strike?
Interesting move. Okay. So we're in general okay with what we just did there. Now I'm going to start to think about what we want to do to kind of counter it. So I've got a 5-5, of course, out on the board. I don't see any active way that I can actually get to Cenarius to kill him on this turn.
I wonder.
Because if I use Keeper of the Grove, well, I suppose I could. I could silence him with Keeper of the Grove, which would make him a 4-6 without Taunt. Then I could use my Keeper of the Grove to then I could use my Savage Roar to give these guys damage. And then I could attack with Lore, which would leave me with a couple mana left over, but not too much. But I don't think that's really our best move here. I think what we're going to do is we're going to do this.
I must safeguard the land.
We need to get rid of something, and that's going to be what we're getting rid of. And then we're going to summon Karen Bloodhood.
I wait for no one, mother.
And this is gambling that he doesn't draw something that can kill us on the next turn. He has currently 10 attack, or damage, or 11 damage rather, on the board. But if he goes all for the throat here, I don't think that he can actually kill me, and I can pretty much clear out his board next turn. And that was a fairly lucky draw, which really does annoy me. That happens a lot sometimes. I feel like when we've been playing online, that he gets Wrath the one moment that he actually needs it. If he got Power of the Wild earlier, he wouldn't have been able to do anything with that. Alrighty. So let's think. So at this point, we have to pretty much clear his board. So I'm thinking that we use the Black Knight. It's going to be 6 mana. That's going to kill him. At that point, I can use Savage Roar, gives everyone +3. I think that's the only way we get out of this alive. And we got to hope that he can't kill us next turn, I think. So that's going to be our play.
For honor. The earth will feel of nature's wrath.
And then next turn we summon a Taunt and hope that we don't die. But if we die this turn, which we're playing really close to the chest, then that'll be very unfortunate.
I must safeguard the land.
Well, that's unfortunate. Okay. So, we have literally no choice right now but to summon a taunt and shapeshift to give us an armor so he doesn't kill us. And I'm thinking the only way to do that is Ancient of War. Or the best way to do it is Ancient of War. And then we could take him out.
I'm invincible.
And we're going to have to hope he doesn't pull a damage card right now, because he's really close to finishing us off. So he's going to armor up, which is pretty much as good as can be expected, I suppose. We're going to kind of finagle this a little bit, and we're going to attack him. And we're going to use this to do 1 damage to him, so hopefully we draw something of some value. And that's about as good as we can get. Alright, so if getting him down to 6 health right now is not the best that it can get, then I don't know how I could have played that turn differently. I could have played another taunt, so if he kills this, if he kills this guy, he can potentially attack me, but I still have 2 health, which means attacking me with shapeshift isn't going to do anything. He needs a charge minion, or he needs something along the lines of a druid. Not that, I mean, Keeper of the Grove. Alright, so this is amazing for us here. Not swipe, but just the fact that we're in this position, because this is lethal. What we can do, I think, is... I think if we use swipe, we can take him down. We can kill him, take him down to 5. We can kill him with this, and then...
For the wild.
And I'm going to give him a well played, because that was pretty much as close to me dying as you could be without actually dying. I was down to 1 health. So maybe a sloppy game, I don't know. When it gets down to this level, you kind of have to be creative to win. And I think that was pretty much me being creative. So I'm going to accept that as, the price of doing business, and kind of give myself an uneventful pat on the back here. Now, I want to make another quick match here. That was kind of a long one, but I want to have a kind of quick one to wrap it up. I don't want to give you just one match. So I'm going to actually play the Hunter, which you guys haven't seen yet, and it's probably a good thing because it's kind of a cookie cutter crappy Hunter deck with Leroy Jenkins thrown in at the top. And he's probably, I think, the highest mana creature I actually have in the deck. So if it gets to the late game, I'm screwed. Not to mention the fact that it has almost no draw power at all, so it's really all about the early game rush. I don't know if it's going to be effective. I've heard that people have used it to some effect.
Versus Gul'dan.
But the only way to find that out for sure is to actually play it here and see how it works out.
Let the hunt begin.
Now, I don't really know much about Hunters, so I don't really know if this is a bad hand or a good hand. Leper Gnome is pretty much the most universal starting card of the Hunter deck, so I'll keep him. Bluegill Warrior is right up there as well with a 2 mana summon. So I think we're going to start with this and just hope that this works out. Timberwolf is a good card as well. So we're going to start by summoning Leper Gnome, because I can't do anything else this turn except summon Timberwolf, which seems like a good later game card, or possibly a combination with Starving Buzzard. And I think we'll decide what we do next turn based off what he decides.
Do you need a blessing?
Okay. Alright, so that's pretty much what I expected. So we're going to go ahead and do 4 damage to him right now. And I just did that because I feel like right now he's not going to have that much he can play for 2 mana. And being behind by 1 is not really the worst thing in the entire world. Alright. So we're just going to attack directly. I don't know if that's the best move. I hesitated. I thought about killing him early But I'm thinking that if he has a Murloc deck, a well-timed Unleash the Hounds might be the end of him overall, and might allow me to summon like 50 cards. So we're going to try to use that to combat it instead, and we're going to bank the damage. So he's just going to bank damage against me and summon that Pagel, which is perfectly fine. I'm okay dealing with that overall. This is when it gets a little bit tricky, so I'm going to bank the damage again. Instead I'm going to summon Booger Warrior. He's going to get another little bit of health here. But we're going to kill him. And we're going to attack with Timberwolf anytime we decide to do it. And we have the Starving Buzzard Unleash the Hounds combo, so I'm not too worried about the draw power here. Yes, we're down to 3 cards, but we also have a couple minions on the board that he hasn't managed to kill yet, luckily, because he hasn't Hellfired, which he may do on this turn. And we have a couple minions in the hand to kind of work with. So if he starts summoning things like crazy, hopefully we'll have the ability to deal with it. Alright, so this Rush deck is kind of like the Rush deck from Hell right now. Obviously, from what you can see here, not too much going on in the whole strategy department. We're just kind of attacking each other. I'm just going to let him use Nat Pagel however the hell much he wants. He's down to 11 health, so you want to be that guy, buddy, and go right ahead. Because next turn, we're just going to keep summoning. We're just going to keep steady shotting. He has 20. He has 11. I have 28. I'm obviously in a much better position overall, so we're going to see what he decides to do here. But so this is the kind of the rush I was waiting for. The question of whether he can actually kill me with it is a different story, but he's actually going to be in really tough shape here, because I'm just going to ignore his rush. And I'm just going to do this. And now he's down to 3 health, so if he leaves any of these guys around, then he dies. And I have Unleash the Hounds, which means he's pretty much screwed. I think it's going to be a good game. I don't think he can beat me here. Unless he has a taunt, I really don't think that he has any chance. So he's probably thinking about conceding here. I don't think there's any chance of him actually winning it. No, he's just going to go in for the kill here, apparently. Or try, but I guess he's going to attempt to wipe out my minions with his own, which may be the best possible approach, because if he does so, I won't have as much to summon with Unleash the Hounds, but it's not going to matter. If he has even one minion out there, if he leaves even one of my minions behind, which I don't think he has a choice but to do, then I'm going to kill him. So, I mean, he knows that. He knows I have, 2 damage waiting there in my hero ability of the 3. And, a single Unleash the Hounds is going to be the rest of it. So, good game. It was fun while it lasted, but he's literally making it so there's 0 chance that he wins right now. Alright, so that's game. I'm surprised he hasn't conceded yet. But he probably thinks that maybe, he has a chance at walking away from this, but I mean, I could be mean and just use this, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, and that's game. But I guess that if you ever wonder to yourself which hunter, what type of deck's better, the generic Hunter Rush or the Murloc Rush, I'm not sure if that's necessarily the best version of either deck, so I'm not sure if that's really a good comparison, but obviously Hunter had the upper hand there with a very quick and easy victory. So, I mean, I guess if I had to debut this deck for the first time, Rush 2112 did not let me down, and I was able to actually pick up a victory, so that seems like fun, a fun deck to play. Maybe I'll throw it in there every once in a while. As I said, Hunter is not the deck that I generally prefer to play. I prefer a little more strategy, a little more control. I like to feel like I know what I'm doing with the game, rather than the Hunter deck, which is, by its nature, more of a game where you're kind of sitting there contemplating exactly how much you should attack the other person directly, which doesn't really seem like sitting there contemplating at all. It's just, I mean, there is strategy involved with it. I don't mean to demean the Hunter deck, but I feel like more of the strategies in the deck building with Hunters than it is with actually, the gameplay. Just like with Warriors, Hunter's not really a very subtle deck. It's just basically, here's my minions, they have charge, I'm going to build my deck in the most mana efficient way that I can put more on the board than my opponent is, capable of coping with. And if I run into something like a Hellfire, then that's pretty much it for me. The only ace in the hole I've got is my, Unleash the Hounds. So, say what you will about the Hunter deck. It does have its pros. It also has its cons. I don't think it's a consistent way, in my opinion, to rise in the ladder, but a lot of legendary players that run Hunter would probably disagree with me. And I'm only, someone who's gotten up to level like 12, so what the heck do I know, I suppose. But I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. That's going to be it for this one. Hopefully we can get a couple more games in here. Maybe we'll try the Hunter a little bit more as we progress, but I hope you guys have been enjoying the episodes, and I hope that this one was another fun one for you. Other than that, have yourself a great day, and I will see you next time.